Welcome to the exhibition Caravans of Gold, Fragments in Time. We're really pleased to present this exhibition here at the Aga Khan Museum in conjunction with the Block Museum at Northwestern University, as well as the Museum of African Art at the Smithsonian Institution. This is an exhibition that asks visitors to explore how Africa laid at the heart of the commerce and culture of the medieval world. In that way, it really challenges us to rethink the past so that we can understand our present and future in a different way. Another really important part of this story is how Islam and Arabic spread into Africa beginning in the 8th century. And so really it's an exhibition that also tells us about the importance of Islam in Africa to the world's cultural heritage.
Visitors can expect a really atmospheric gallery when they come visit Caravans of Gold. This exhibition has over 250 objects. There's so much to see, and each one of these objects really inspired a different part of the design for the exhibition. Some of my favorite objects in the exhibition are the Tellem textiles. They were found in caves in Mali, and some of them date as far back as the 11th century. Looking at these objects and knowing how old they are, looking at their colors, their patterns, they're very familiar and similar to something that you might see today. And I feel like these objects really provide a human connection to the artisans that would have made them. I also really like that these objects kind of embody the trade routes that we're looking at in this exhibition, the materials that would have had to have been brought together to create them, the cotton, the wool, the indigo dyes, all come from different regions in Africa. These materials would have had to have been sourced and brought together for these artisans to create these pieces of fabric.
This section of the exhibition looks at how the great forest kingdoms of medieval West Africa are locked into the economic and cultural circuits of the medieval period through its connection to Saharan trade. For example, we have a really wonderful sculpture on view produced in Ife, which was one of the great kingdoms in Western Africa. Interestingly, not only is it an aesthetic tour de force, we have beautifully rendered detail and beautifully rendered naturalism of the seated figure. But really interestingly, its materiality tells us a great story. Analysis of the copper that was used in the sculpture indicates that it was possibly sourced in the Alps in Europe. So not only are goods circulating out of West Africa, ivory, gold circulating out of West Africa, but goods are coming in for patrons and artisans in Western Africa to produce wonderful masterpieces like these.
With every exhibition we do at the Aga Khan Museum, we try to provide an enriching experience for all of our audiences, and I think we've really achieved that with these two exhibitions. Caravans of Gold leads directly into Echo Namako's Building Black Civilizations. And at first, these two exhibitions might seem very different, but they actually speak really well to each other.
I've been very inspired by Caravans of Gold, Fragments in Time, the show, and more so the subject matter that the show presents. Some time ago, I became very fascinated really with medieval Africa, because I know growing up the word medieval often conjured King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table. And not to say that that mythology isn't fascinating in its own right, but that's all that was presented, you know, a European worldview of the medieval era. So once I began investigating what was happening in different parts of Africa, particularly West Africa, where my family comes from, I really found that there was just so much culture, so much art and inspiration walking through this exhibit. It just, you know, fills me with a strong sense of history and even pride about the contributions that Africa made to the modern world. Lego to me is the most versatile material. There is something undeniably playful about it. At the same time, my work is often very fantastical, and I'm always trying to explore the fantastical narratives that take place within the little nooks and crannies of history, and also in unwritten history in the future. When I create sculptures, particularly using all black Lego parts, it does strip away some of that playfulness and insert a little bit more sophistication And I find that with my series, Building Black, and like this exhibition, Building Black Civilizations, I've managed to achieve that.